Hello, everyone, and how are you doing tonight? If it is indeed evening for you. My name is Guy Royse, and welcome to my humble stream. Tonight, I'm going to be continuing my work on the Evercraft Kata. If you're not familiar with the Evercraft Kata, I will show you what it is. Hey, Simon, how's it going? Always good to see you. Fortunately, I'm back on the far right side to be able to see my chat messages now, so it's going to look like I'm looking away from everything when I look at chat, but everything can't line up perfectly, right? So I've been working on the Evercraft Kata. The Evercraft Kata, for those who are not familiar, is it's a test-driven development coding exercise that my buddy George Walters and I whipped up several years ago, where we test drive the brains of a Dungeons and Dragons game. This game is called Evercraft. It's intended to be a massive multiplayer online RPG, sort of a joke. Company's Blizzards of the Coast here, it's Blizzards of the Coast. It's a really fun exercise. It's sort of modeled after 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons because that was what we were playing at the time. But I'm a bad influence. Thank you very much. Hello. I'm trying to parse your name there. Simon, did you get blocked because I've got a filter on or something? Saki Bamed. It's an Ahmed. Sakib Ahmed. Got it. Sakib. Bots don't like Simon tonight. I'm sorry, Simon. Are the bots being mean to you? Well, cool. Welcome to my stream. Oh, you coded it in TypeScript, did you, Simon? So Simon's been watching for a while here, the Evercraft Kata, as I've been coding this up. I've been doing it in JavaScript. He's been doing it in TypeScript, apparently, recently. I'll forgive him for that. Actually, I just haven't gotten into TypeScript yet. I like the looseness of JavaScript, and I know it's a bias. I recognize it for what it is, but hey, it's my stream. I'm gonna do what I enjoy a little bit, right? So, got an attribute score lookup. Cool. Or got that far? Yeah, it's a big exercise. It's a really big exercise. So Sakib, just to bring you up to speed, we're coding up Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm doing it in JavaScript. And I've been working on this. I think this is my 6th or 5th episode doing this. And I've gotten all the way through to classes, and I got fighters done, and I got rogues mostly done, and then last stream I did a big refactor. And so coming in now, I want to add some more functionality, but I was looking at my tests, and I want to do some small things to make them consistent with my code first. So over here on the left, we've got all of our files, and so ability, alignment, armor class, attack damage, attack modifier, etc., etc. And these are all actually just like parts of the hero. And then I've broken out some of the tests already, so they go in a similar way. So you got hero alignment spec and hero experience spec, which is sort of like level and experience. And I want to do 2 things. One's really small, and I want to just go through and rename all these ones that are just sort of like subclasses. Not subclasses, that's the wrong word because that implies inheritance. But things that are composed inside of the hero. And so I want to rename them all with hero dash so that they group together logically. So that's a small thing, but that's one thing I'm going to do. And then I want to break out all my hero specs to actually align with these files, so that I have, hero, level, and experience, and hero, level, and experience spec. So it's just some renaming and a little bit of copy pasta. And then the next thing we need to do is I've done rogue. I've got the triple damage on crits, and I've got the add dexterity modifier to attacks instead of strength. And I have the can I have a good alignment. I do not have the ignore an opponent's dexterity modifier if positive to armor class when attacking. And I'm not sure where that's going to go yet. That might go in the attack class, because that's the thing that's going to be resolving that. And it seems like the place where rules for this character interacting with another character in a specific way would belong. So we'll see. I think that's where I'm going to put it. We'll try writing a test, see what it looks like, see if we hate it or not. So, TS Jest is not nice. Been doing C# for more than a year, so Yeah, it is good to keep your hands in the web. Everyone's got to do front end eventually, right, Simon? Um, it's just part of, everyone has to care about front end tech because everything's got a screen, right? Um, well, I mean, if you want to be a full stack developer, you do it. I guess that if you just want to be back end, you can do that. There are careers in that. So, um, yeah, your question on whether the wording was on the spec was deliberately using interchange terminology. Um, no, it wasn't deliberate. It's just sort of character, combatant, attacker. It's all just whatever felt like the right bit of prose that I wrote at the time. There's no rhyme or reason to that. Um, so, if one is particularly unclear because of the choice of words, feel free to send me a pull request and I'll go ahead and merge it in. Because I do want them to be clear. Although this also is a workshop, so occasionally there's some things that aren't real clear, and they work as prompts for the people in the workshop to ask questions. And so those are. I'm going to say those are deliberate, but actually they were just mistakes that I made that were convenient. so, so okay. Oh yeah, I guess it would be more noticeable that way, wouldn't it? I've done these bits that I'm going through here so many times. I kind of don't see the full words. I just sort of see the intention behind the words because I kind of like a lot of these things I have like at the very beginning. I really don't need to reference the document here. So I've internalized a lot of it. So anyhow, so onward with the minor refactor. I promise I won't only refactor code on this stream. We'll add some functionality too. I'm just going to go through and rename. I got my test running here. And so, and I found out that in package.json, I had run in band set, which is slower than if it's off, but it allows the tests to be debugged easier. So I took that out and it cut my test time in half. So that's a +2, or well, yeah, +2 to hit, right? That's a plus also, yeah. So let's go ahead and rename this hero dash alignment, and rename this hero dash armor class. And I know that's just going to break a bunch of stuff, and I'm just going to plow through it. Hero dash attack damage. Hero class. Rename hero attack modifier. Here it is. Hero hit points. Rename hero level and experience. And hero name. Okay. And then it will find all the things that break. Actually, it's just going to be hero.js because all these files are wrong now. Actually, it looks like I got most of them. Well, that's good. Which ones failed? Because one of the things it'll do is it'll sometimes figure them out. Is the code coverage flaky in the JS version? I don't know. I haven't really used it. I don't tend to use code coverage tools a ton. I don't. Code coverage are tools that I want when I have a legacy code base more than when I'm creating a new one. I mean, sometimes it's a useful metric to spit out, but when I'm developing, I generally, a line of code comes in existence prompted by a test. So I don't use the code coverage tools for that reason. So I don't know if it's flaky in here or not. I should probably play with it sometime and just to kick the tires on it. All my tests pass. No, there's that. Let's run them again. No, that's not running them again. That's running them again. There we go. So yeah, it renamed everything properly, so it all just worked. So here we have hero alignment spec, hero experience spec. Let's rename that level and experience to match the class name. And then this is the hero hit point spec. Got alignment. So let's pull these apart. Let's create a new file here. Hero armor class spec. And then we will take hero spec and we'll get the armor class bit out of this. There we go. So that should be actually a pretty easy one. Paste that there. Get that little bit there. So this is nothing particularly brilliant. And that still passes. And then in hero spec, we no longer have the armor class, so we can save that. Cool. And then we have, well, let's do an easy one. Let's do the hero name spec. New file, hero, oh, hair. Name spec.js. It becomes less procedural, more OO at the point that the various attribute modifiers come into play. Yeah, I think there's some truth to that. I never go full. I avoid the inheritance because I mean the first time I did this after I developed the kata, I went down the inheritance path, and then I got all the way through classes, and then I went to races, and I'm like, oh, I want to inherit again, and so I didn't do that again. So which is why I have this composition here, but because you only get one inheritance, and you know you need to use it carefully, and so I usually don't use it at all. Because everything else is going to work that other way, right? So my tests are still passing. Here's my hero.js. We can get rid of, or I got too many files open. Let's close all of them. Let's look at hero name. Let's take hero spec to be the first file on the left. There we go. That way it's easy to remove things from it, easy to find, because he's the file that we're pulling everything out of. New file, hero class spec. And then actually this makes it way easier. So I can just copy it right there, paste it right there, bish, bash, bosh. And then I can then take the take that out. We're getting closer. Excuse me. Get my high quality drinking vessel here. It's the ball canning jars. I love these things. Reminds me of being a kid. So here we have hero attack modifier spec.js. More copy pasta. I think the hero spec will just go away because there won't be anything left in it, right? Well, you're right. Yeah. So Simon, so I'm looking. I read your second message, but I see the previous one here. You're completely right. It's doing the minimum is what you want to try and do. The overstructure, a preemptive over engineering of it. A good friend of mine has this thing. He says that's. I want to make sure I say this well because it sounds really good. That duplication is cheaper than the wrong abstraction. So the wrong abstraction will do more damage to your code base than duplication will. And so I usually wait until I have 3 copies of the thing before I make a refactoring decision to figure out what the pattern is. I'll live with it twice for that reason, because if I pick the wrong abstraction and then go with it, and then it causes me pain, and I got to roll it back and then do another thing. And so it's cheaper to a little bit of duplication. It's not going to kill you, right? Hey, Jitter Ted, how's it going? Were you doing your Yahtzee thing? And yeah, Simon, you're right. It is interesting how long things can stay procedural without too much spaghetti. And honestly, lots of problems can be solved that way. I mean, it's I know that I did a lot of enterprise Java work in my career, and you're basically automating processes, and you would do this Java pattern that was really just a bunch of procedural code, even though it's like, oh, I got a bunch of static beans, and they just they have an execute method on them, and their noun is always ends in er because it's actually a verb. It's the processor, and there's a function called process. And so you're not really doing object-oriented programming at that point. You're passing in a DTO and processing it. And it's actually very similar to what COBOL looks like. And I for a while, I railed against that. And then I realized we're automating business processes. And so in many ways, the DTOs are the pieces of paper that used to move through the organization. And so that process is being automated. Procedural programming is a good way to automate process. It's actually a very intuitive way to do it. So it's sometimes that's the right metaphor. I took the day off today, Jitter Ted. Yeah, Ted, we should do this kata together, Ted. That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. If you're up for it, I'm up for it. I think streams are a lot more fun when you get 2 people on them, because then they can play off of each other. There's a lot more energy. Yeah, October at your current rate. I might be done by then. So, but yeah, if Ted, if you want to do it together, I would be totally down for that. That would be a lot of fun. I've threatened to do it with Dev Chatter with Brendan, but he wants to go through it himself first before, because I know too much of the exercise, and so I have to hold back, and he's worried that I won't be able to do that, and that's probably fair. So, T-sequel. Oh, fantastic. Yay. I'm going to do Evercraft in stored procedures. We should do it in COBOL. That'd be fun. No, let's not. Okay. Yeah, we should. But yeah, I don't know if you have my email address or not, Ted, but or hit me up on Twitter. We can schedule a time to do it. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So, and we tend to stream both on Monday nights, so we could just, come together and do it. So, I think that would work really, really well. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about this idea. Small talk, yeah. I actually don't know small talk. It might be fun exercise. A really interesting thing to do the Evercraft Kata in is because it's inherently an object-oriented problem, is to do it in a functional language, like a pure functional language. Like I did it in Elixir. And that was really interesting. I got to some interesting patterns there. Hey, Lord Hyperion, how's it going? You're up this late, are you? Can we line number basic? We should do it in line number basic. We'd have to build a line number basic TDD tool set. How would you even do that? I mean, are there any line number, is small basic a line number basic, Simon? I'm not familiar with it. I know I did some like quick basic back in college, and then I did lots of line number basic back in the 80s when I was a kid. So basic unit. Yeah, this kata is so basic. Yeah. You'd have to, yeah. I'm thinking about the way BASIC worked, like on the Commodore 64. You'd have to have your unit test be part of your program, wouldn't you? Because you really, I can't think of any other way I could do it, right? I guess you could just treat a program as a function, which is kind of what COBOL does, right? And do something like that. So. I need to keep copying and copy pasta here and get this thing into the pieces parts that I want. Is that it? I think that might be it. This would be hero attack spec. The hero. Oh wait, where did it? Hero attack damage spec. And then hero spec doesn't have anything in it, so it can go away. That's fine. Okay, is everything still passing? Everything is still passy. I've broken up my heroes to a little bit to make them a little more manageable, I guess. Go sub 450. Yeah, because line number basic was always just, well, it wasn't even really one file. I mean, when I was doing it, it was just like, you type it in to the command line and it just took it as, when you put a line number there, it took it as code. Oh yeah, so Lord Hyperion, you have pointed out one of the things that comes up all the time with this exercise when I do it as a workshop is that excuse me, quit my test here. Your code won't compile, so you can't run your tests because there's methods that aren't there, and so you got to write like the minimum that your code can run, compile and run, and yeah, that's you do. I just sort of think of those little red squigglies that shows up in Visual Studio or this happens with Java as well as a failing test. And so you write enough, and then this isn't compiling. Let me write enough to make it compile. Okay, keep going, and that's how I address that. And so in practice, what it really kind of means is you take slightly larger steps than you can with a language that will let you just do whatever, like JavaScript does, but it still works. So. Okay, so I'm going to commit all this. Renamed and moved tests around. Push that up to GitHub. I'll tell you what. Okay, so let's add some more feature functionality. So the thing we have to do next for Rogue is that it ignores an opponent's dexterity modifier if it's positive to their armor class when they are attacking them. So I think this goes in the attack itself. I'm going to try that. So here we have in our attack spec, I haven't looked at the attack spec in a few weeks. Got the attacker, the defender, the subject is the attack itself. When a roll is less than armor class, when a roll meets armor class, when a roll beats armor class, and when a roll is a nat 20. Then it does the amount of damage we expect, and it gives the attacker 10 experience points. When the attacker is beefy, they hit more easily, they miss less easily, they do more damage on hit, they do even more damage on a critical. So now we have I think we have another condition here. It says it's when attacker is a rogue. So we'll say attacker dot rogue or dot class equals rogue. Describe and defender has a dexterity English is hard bonus to their armor class. Okay. In that scenario, it ignores the dex bonus. Yeah. Test. We'll say it. Bonus hits looks like bonus shits. That's kind of funny. So we need to say, let's one line that. And then we'll take defender dot dexterity dot score equals 14. That'll give him a +2. Am I gonna put a GUI on it? That'd be fun. I don't know. That sounds like a lot of work. I mean, I might put like a GUI with like drop downs and stuff so you can like, you know, set up attacks. I don't know that I want to do a full-blown battle grid or anything like that. That seems, you know, getting, you know, there's the GUI and then there's the GUI, right? Okay, so the defender should have an armor class of 14 given +2, so they should have an armor class at 10. Or no, 12. However, when we resolve the attack and the subject is it's a 10, expect defender hit to be true. So there we go. Yeah, that's our test. Let's get our specs up and running. We don't have our tests running. Bad guy. No tests. So one failed, which is what we expect. Expected true to be false is what it's going to say. Or expected false to be true. Cool. Feel like you should put a GUI on it. Ring mail, right? ASCII art would be fun, Simon. That would be a lot of fun. Or even just using this as sort of the brains. What I should do is get back to working on the mud. And like use this as the combat engine for the mud. That could be fun. Actually, I may consider that. Okay, well, let's make this pass, right? So we got, this is the attack spec. And so we want to go to attack.js. And so we're calling resolve, and is it a hit or not? We're saying roll plus this dot attack modifier is greater than or equal to armor class. We need, well, you know, we can do the simplest thing here is we can say if this dot attacker dot class, if they're a rogue, yeah, it's not rouge, then do one thing, otherwise do another thing. So we can do something simple and stupid that works, and then we can look at it and say, I love it, I hate it, and we can refactor it and make it prettier. If I got something ugly, I can refine it. If I have nothing, I can't do anything. So, so you did ASCII art for your blackjack game, Ted? That sounds fun. Yeah, see. So how do I want to do this? And say this dot be returned this dot roll is greater than or equal to this dot underscore defender dot armor class minus this dot underscore defender dot dexterity. This feels dirty. Modifier. Now this won't work for all the scenarios, but it will make this test pass. Yeah, that works. I could just say 10, but I don't want to hard code what the armor class in here. This guy shouldn't know about armor class. That is not a thing that it should know. So. Yeah, you know, I have problems with where you're using emojis for the ASCII art as well, like because there's a diamond and heart and club and spade emojis. Yeah, that is totally what happens. Lord Hyperion is that your character class, your hero, turns into a god class really quick. And I actually solved that, sort of, by decomposing it. Yeah, Unicode is what I meant. I guess they're not... It's funny, I kind of use the word emoji to mean anything that's not ASCII anymore, which I just realized I do that. Yeah. But yeah, so I solved the God object issue by breaking this hero up into hero alignment, hero class, and hero level and experience. And then I just delegate. So this guy just becomes more of a pass-through. And then I can focus my rules a little bit. So like here's a hit points, and so it's got a maximum current, is alive, add damage, and some other things. And so it focused the code down and broke it up and kept it from all being in one big place. So that's how I solved that. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I wasn't sure if I'd like it when I went down this path, but I do. But yeah, it turns into a big God object if you're not careful. Well, it really guides you down that path, right, doesn't it? Yeah, you know, I'm actually kind of on the old side to be calling everything emoji, right? Is that an ASCII emoji? Oh, yeah, you're using ANSI stuff too. That's fun. So yeah, and you can move. You can actually move emojis and anything Unicode, any character you can move around with the ANSI. I wrote a little thing in Ruby years ago, and I moved a little smiley face around the screen. Roguelike games can be a lot more fun with all the new characters we have. Okay, so that's passing. When the attacker is a rogue and the defender has a dexterity bonus to their armor class. And then we got the scenario of and the defender has a dexterity penalty to their armor class. Actually, I do want to do that, but I'm going to append it here. I'll go ahead and give them a 6. So it should be an armor class of 8. And then, but that's the wrong test. So actually, I'm just going to do, that's all wrong. Wrong. So it ignores the dex bonus to armor class, but I also need to verify some edge cases here. So 10 should hit, because I can make this pass. Like here, let me show you why I'm messing with these tests. The easiest thing to do to make this test pass would be to say turn true. Because I'm only checking that it hits. So we'll say on a hit, and then it ignores the dex bonus to armor class on a miss. So if it's a 9, that should be false. And that fails. And then that would prompt me to do something more like this. Yeah. I think that's okay. That's okay for now. Now we can say when they have a penalty. Yeah, so you had a combatant class as well and a character implement iCombatant. Yeah, I'm doing JavaScript, so there's no interfaces, but yeah, I'm getting it clean. I'm getting it there. But I'm trying to take the small steps I can here, Lord Hyperion. So much if else. Yeah, yeah, God, that's where spaghetti comes from, doesn't it? So that's where spaghetti comes from. And defender has a dexterity penalty. Includes the dex penalty to armor class on a hit. So that means if we give them a dex penalty of, let's give them 6, so that should give them armor class 8. 8 will hit, and includes the dex penalty. To armor class on a miss. And so that means a 7 will miss. And I should pend that. And then in here, we want to say if. We'll add it here. And this dot defender dot dexterity modifier is less than less than 1, less than 0. Doesn't really matter. Less than or equal to 0. We'll just do less than 0. That way we don't have to do it. We don't always have to do it. That should pass. It doesn't. What did I do wrong? Is if it's greater than 0. There we go. That's better. And then this will probably pass too. Cool. Now, I think this is kind of ugly a little bit. And so I'm entertaining the thought of adding an armor class to the hero, or to the armor class that is armor class without dex, or something along that lines. You know, dexless AC. And see what that does. So less than, greater than, that's right. It's all the same. You know, it's just opposite sides of the coin, and who cares about 0 anyhow, right? Yeah, this is ugly. I don't like this. I don't know. VB.net. I am thinking about Ted, was your very ugly comment in response to this bit of code here? Because if so, I completely agree. Or was it in response to my idea of having a dexless armor class on the hero? Um, because that's what I'm thinking about doing. And but if you have a reason why you think it's ugly, I would actually like to know that. Because you're a fairly sharp dude. I value your opinion. Yeah, that's where I'm coming at too. I want to basically say, if they're a rogue, give the deckless AC. Otherwise, use the regular AC. That's kind of what I'm thinking. The duplication. This bit here. Uh, let's go down the path. Yeah, well, and so that's kind of what I'm thinking here is where if I can just say, give me the appropriate armor class, then this all of a sudden gets a lot simpler. Because then I just check if you're a rogue. Let's start with that one. I think that's a good place to start. We'll go to the hero.js and we'll create a where's my armor class? We'll say get armor class, get armor class, get minus dex. Without dex. Can I say dexless armor class? Is dexless a word? Yeah, I'm going to make it a word. What the hell? There we go. And then in here, and that won't work because, well, actually it will. In hero armor class, I can add a minus dex. Oh, feature envy. I don't actually know. I'm not as familiar with that envy pattern. I get the gist of it, but it's an odd bit of functionality because it doesn't fit well in attack and it doesn't fit well in hero. And so, like, I'm the reason I think the reason I'm doing it this way is because I don't want the attack to have to know how to compute armor class because that's the responsibility of the hero. But at the same time, the attack is responsible for understanding how characters interact. And so that's sort of where I'm dividing it along. And we'll see what I end up with. We can always keep calm and get reset -- hard, right? So return, and actually this just should be return base AC because we don't have anything other than dexterity that modifies armor class yet. And then in attack, we could then ask, and we can say if it's a rogue, roll put this attack modifier is greater than dexless armor class, and see if that still passes. It doesn't because I'm a loser. What did I do wrong? Oh, it doesn't handle the Yeah, so I still need the if statement here because it doesn't handle the scenario where we have a negative armor class penalty. So this would be, I'm going to write an if, but I might be able to do this with a clever ternary. Although clever is kind of a bad word, isn't it? For the ligatures, Voracious Dev, I'm using Fira code. Fira code, like that. Not Convolver node. What is that even? So it's Fira code. It's a great font. I love it. The ligatures are kind of sexy. I don't think it's Mozilla. I know ternaries are still if-else, but they look a little cleaner sometimes. If this dexterity modifier is less than 0, then return this value. Otherwise, return base AC. Yeah, hey, yeah, there's my ternary. If the modifier is less than 0, call this value. Otherwise, base AC. I kind of like that. Yes. Firaco does have its own GitHub. Oh, are they Mozilla? Okay, I guess they are then. Oh, okay. I guess they're not. So, yeah, I love Firaco. It's I even use it for my terminal. So. Okay, so then we go to our attack class here. And this just got a lot simpler. So we can. I'm going to say let's total roll equal that. And then if it's a rogue, it's total roll greater than that. Otherwise, it's total roll greater than this other thing. And then really, this can even let's armor class equal if they're a rogue, do that. Otherwise, do that. And then I can just return total roll greater than armor class. And now I kind of feel like I want to put these into little helper functions because these are kind of longish. I don't think I want to do it necessarily for the total roll. It doesn't feel too bad because in fact I can now inline this and that still doesn't look too bad, right? But what I want to do is I'm going to create a little helper. It's called, I did this pattern in some of the other ones here. I want to mimic the pattern. I want to mimic my style. So I just got these little getters down here, yeah. So, the pattern. And so I want to get Defender Armor class. And then this will simply be that line right there. That is long enough, I think, to justify a return. It's probably long enough to make the ternary is actually a little hard to read. But let's finish the refactor up here first. And so then we can say this roll plus this is less than this dot defender armor class. So then defender armor class is computed down here. and let's try it with an if statement instead. I think that might just because it's taking up a lot of horizontal space, and I think it might look a little bit better if it was some more vertical space. I mean, it's all the same thing. Yeah, I think that's a little bit easier to read. Hey, JetBrains Mono guy, yeah. The get set functions are exposed as properties, just like in C#. Yeah. Guard clauses work well too, Voracious Dev. I mean, if I was doing this like in, say, Swift, I would use something along those lines. Yeah. Hey, we got Rogue done. And the code doesn't suck. I don't feel like it sucks. We've got... I feel like an appropriate level of separation here. There's knowledge here that says, hey, you know, when a rogue is interacting with someone, then they use a different armor class. And I think that belongs in the attack. But having that computation of that dexless armor class inside the hero, I think that's just a little. It feels like the right responsibility. It's in the right place. So, I suppose so. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's commit that. I'm just going to open up a second terminal. The trash can's not going to open up a second terminal. That's not how that works. Git status, git add dot, git commit -m. Last feature on the rogue. On the rouge. Git push. Cool. Let's look at the requirements here. So we've done fighter, and we've done rogue. We've done the passion fruit. We haven't done a banana, have we? Okay, so as a player, I want to play a monk so that I can enjoy being an Asian martial arts archetype in a medieval European setting. Has 6 hit points per level instead of 5. Does 3 points of damage instead of 1 when attacking. Adds wisdom modifier if positive armor class in addition to dexterity. Attack rolls increased by 1 every second and third level. Okay, this is actually fairly straightforward. Let's do the hit points first. I think that'll be easy. What we're running into here with the hit points spec is defaults to 6. When it goes up when they're buff, goes down when they're sickly. Can't go below 0 because of your constitution. When your levels go up, levels of buffitude go up. Defaults to 10 for fighters. I think these 3 scenarios will probably cover it. Defaults to 6 for monks. Goes up 6 for each monk level. Goes up more for buff high level monks. Makes sense. And we got monk. Constitution 10, hit points should be 6. Constitution 10, hit points should be whatever 6 times 3 is, that'd be 18. And level 3 would be 18. Constitution 14 would be a +2 for a level, so that'd be 24. And just to be honest, I'm going to do these one test at a time. Expected 6 received not a number. Not exactly the error I was expecting, but it kind of makes sense. It's looking for a monk and not finding it at all. So that kind of makes sense. So we don't need to mess with attack spec here. Let's look at hero hitpoints.js. I think this is just a matter of doing this. Monk 6. Yep. Already templatized that, so it's not a huge deal. And that means I should be able to just comment out each of these. And it'll just work. Excellent. Does 3 points of damage instead of 1 when successfully attacking. Attack roll is increased by 1 every second and third level. Wisdom modifier, if positive, to armor class in addition to dex. Does 3 points of damage when it's successfully attacking. So we just need to do the attack damage. That would be the attack damage spec here. Defaults to 1, goes up when hero is beefy, cannot go below 1. Critical damage, defaults to 2, goes up when hero is beefy, cannot go below 1. When a rogue, it's tripled. And here we have, let's do a, when a monk. When a monk and we'll get our little bit of code there to make him a monk. Defaults to 3 as it turns up. Goes up when they're beefy. Cannot go below 1. Those would all be true. Make him a monk. Defaults to 3, except it's not critical damage. It's going to be attack damage. I'm going to append these ones here because I shouldn't be running them yet. But I'm copying them because I know that that's the scope of the things I want to test. So I'm cheating a little bit. Yeah, received 1, expected 3. Makes sense. Let's look at hero attack damage. Those are crit multipliers. So what I need to do here is say 1 plus this hero strength modifier, comma 1. The 1 needs to either be a 1 or a 3, depending on whether they're a monk or not. I could put an if statement in here, but I think I'd rather templatize this just like I did with the crit multiplier. So let's do a const base damage, and then we'll take the class, the things that we have here. Monk will need to be 2. I don't have any tests for that yet, so base damage, not base damage, base damage is 1, 1, 1, and the monk is 3. And then down here in normal, instead of looking that up, we'll say get base damage. So return base damage this dot class. That test is still failing because I haven't made it pass yet. Then this gets replaced with this dot base damage plus the strength modifier, and it should be this dot strength modifier. Just a little refactor I missed earlier in the coding. Now that passes. That's a good thing. It goes up, and these should just automatically pass. They don't. Well, it's because, yeah. So, it's because I'm testing for the wrong values. So, strength score 2, that should take it up to a 5 of damage. All right. Yep. If their strength is 6, that's a -2 to their thing, which would take them down to a 1. Which would probably pass, actually. But that's not the test I want to validate. Yeah. Let's give them a strength of 1. That would be a -5. Which would totally negate their +3. And they still do at least 1 point of damage on an attack. So, cool. Now let's do the same thing for when a monk for crits. So, copy pasta. There's when a rogue. When a monk. Defaults to 6 because it would be doubled. This would be 10. Append that. And then if we give them, that'd be a -5. This would still be a 1. Go back into here, and we got our crit multiplier. We'll say monk. And that's a crit multiplier 2. And we'll say this dot base damage. And this little bit here looks like duplication, right? But it's actually, I mean, it is. It's not a terrible bit of duplication, but it is something I should probably refactor out, right? Because, it's base damage plus strength modifier, and then it's 1, whichever is greater, right? But here it's that times the multiplier, or 1, whichever is greater. Let's do a... I'm going to move some of the stuff around here. There's base damage, strength modifier, there's multiplier, there's class. Yeah, it's extract function. That's kind of where I'm at too. I'm just trying to think what I want that to look like. I think it's going to be well, we got strength modifier, we got base damage, we got damage. That's not a very meaningful, not a very descriptive thing. No, you're totally right, Ted. You're calling me to task on things that I should be better about. And that is totally a fine and good thing. I guess it could be attack damage, but I feel like calling attack damage. I'll call it base plus mod. I don't know. I should spell mod better. Naming's hard. Get rid of that. It also means I don't have to have these parentheses anymore. And I'm okay. I mean, the math.max is, I suppose, technically duplicated. I think that's okay. We're just saying it's got to be at least 1. And math.max, that's kind of what, I mean, well, let's try it. I say that, and then I'm like, no, let's try it. Yeah, there we go. Let's make that an arrow function. What the hell? There we go. What's it complaining about? I'm busy coding and I'm not looking up. Oh, you're thinking that could be a function, like a function factory kind of function thing, Jitter Ted? Or are you thinking more of what I just did? um, except my test isn't passing. Why is my test not passing? Defaults to 6. It's because I'm calling the wrong method in my test. Oh, guy. Aren't you guys supposed to be catching these things? Oh, you're not glitched? Hey, Ted, you're not in the Bay Area, Ted. Based on when you stream, I'm guessing you're not, but yeah, you're probably on the East Coast. But because I know they were having rolling blackouts over there. I was all weekend actually. A lot of my coworkers work in the Bay Area, and I was at PyCon on Sunday, and there are people who kept losing the internet and power was going out and stuff. Oh, are you? Oh, you are in the Bay Area? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I hear it's hotter than hell there. One of my coworkers, he doesn't have an air conditioning in his apartment, and it's like 100 degrees outside, and so he's literally had to put his MacBook in the refrigerator to cool it off enough that he can render video. Crazy. In Ohio, I've never had to deal with rolling outages anywhere, and I honestly I think part of the reason is because they just burn more coal. Because like I get my power bill and it's got a little, like a little pie chart shows where all my power comes from. And the power comes from like 95% coal, 3%, hydroelectric, 2% nuclear, something like that. And so I think they just are able, I think maybe the coal power plants are able to vary how much they generate more easily. So. Yeah, it's been hot in Europe too, hasn't it? Is that what it is? Yeah, because same thing with natural gas, right? They can pick up the slack, and whereas solar wind is, it also tends to be a little more fixed, and the storage units are hard. It's a hard problem to solve. Balancing the grid's really hard. You can't just buy spare nuclear power from the French. 105. Yeah, that's pretty damn hot. Has it ever been that hot in the Netherlands? What's that in Celsius? It's like what, 37, something like that. Yeah. I wonder if how much my power I haven't looked at my power bill in years. Maybe they're doing more natural gas now, because I know they're certainly fracking for a lot of it here in Ohio. So, Monk is looking better. Adds wisdom modifier if positive to armor class in addition to dexterity. Attack rolls increased by 1 every second and third level. 41. Yeah, that's tropical, right? I mean, I've been in hotter weather than that, but it was at Burning Man, and it was 1998. So, it was the desert. It was supposed to be hot. Oh, yeah, yeah. Actually, one of my coworkers did that, and then he used it for a week, and then he returned it. And then he needed it again, and now he's hot. So, yeah, yeah, Burning Man, it was hot. It's not always hot, though. One year I went, it was super cold. Um, and so you just never know what you're going to get in the desert like that. And I'm clueless. You're making a joke, and I'm missing it. Um, yeah, we got our AC running tonight. It's not. It's like I think the high today was 87, 88, something like that. But it's also high humidity in Ohio, so it's the Midwest, right? Um, what are we gonna do to Monk next here? We're gonna. I'm gonna do the attack roll because I know it's gonna be easy, and then we'll do the Wisdom modifier because that'll be a little more interesting. We'll do attack modifier and attack modifier spec. Do fighters here. Defaults to so it's every second and third level. 0 for fighters for monks. Goes up on second level for monks. Goes up on third level for monks. This is a little bit of an odd progression, but we'll see. Thanks, Ted. Yeah, go get your presentation ready, and I'm actually presenting at Codepalooza on Thursday and Friday today too, so I got a bunch of work to get that ready too. So, yeah, get prepped, get sleep, and have fun giving a presentation in the middle of the night. And good night to you as well, Simon. And so, see you later as well. So, thanks for hanging out with me. So we got a monk here, and a monk and a monk. And a monk. So this would be a +0. This would be a +1. This would be a +2. And then it does not go up on fourth level for monks. So it's a 2-3 attack progression. That's the idea here. Make them level 4. And then this should still be a +2. And then this is just verifying that it does indeed. I don't really feel like I need that test. I've tested that strength impacts my action. Yeah, I do. Goes up for strong high level monks. So let's do like a 10th level monk with a strength of 14. So 10th would be 1, 2, 2, 3. So it's basically level two-thirds your level. So if you're level 3, it'd be a +2. If you're level 4, if you're level 10, 2/3 of 10. What's 2/3 of 10? Math is hard. 2/3 of 10 would be 6. That's probably, it's probably +6. And that +2 for the strength would be +8. We'll see. We'll see if that's right. I'm not positive that's right, but for starters, that works. That test is going to pass. It didn't pass. I thought that would pass. Why didn't that pass? Oh, because it's probably getting not a number. Cannot read property modifier of undefined. Yeah. So, yeah, because in the attack modifier here, it's looking for this number here, and it's not finding it for monks. So we need to add monk stuff here. So monks use strength. Monk is 2 divided by 3. And that should be all we need to do to make all of those tests pass. But we will prove that out one by one. 6.666. Yep. They do have a simple equation, actually. I have it right here. I used exactly the same formula they used in 3rd edition and 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, Lord Hyperion. So, by the way, I have to ask, by the way, is Hyperion after what is that from, specifically? I mean, I know it's a word, it's a Greek word, and it means things, but my introduction to that word was the Hyperion series by Dan Simmons, which is a great science fiction book series that I read in the 80s and 90s. And I was just curious if you were a fellow fan of Dan Simmons or not, of that particular series. And that was the basis. You got it from StarCraft, okay. Well, if you like good science fiction, Hyperion and The Fall of Hyperion are both really good. And then there's later sequels, Endymion and The Rise of Endymion, which were good as well, but I like the first two better. Well worth the read. Although still not as good as The Expanse. The Expanse is so good. So good. That passes. On 4th level, that should still pass. Strong high-level monk, that should be a +8. Maybe a +9, if I did my math wrong. It's +8. Yeah, well, it does sound cool, right? I don't remember what it means. Yeah, it's Greek. I just don't remember what it means. Cool. So that's monk bonuses. It's a name. Is it a Greek name? Is that what it is? Like Socrates? Okay. And then what do we have left on monk? We have adds wisdom modifier if positive to armor class in addition to dexterity. Okay, so now we're going to look at armor class. I'm going to commit. It's been a while since I've committed. Git add dot git commit dash m added armor class hit points and attack damage for attack damage added, not armor class, it would be added hit points and attack damage and modifiers for monks. There we go. Git push. Okay. I knew the internet knew. I was sure of that. I was tempted to Google it on stream, but I'm like, I really should focus on writing code. Isn't that what I'm supposed to be doing on stream? Write code. So here's my hero armor class. Here's my hero armor class spec. Defaults to 10, includes dexterity modifier when the hero is zippy, includes dexterity modifier when hero is sluggish. Okay, so now we need a describe when hero is a monk. And then we'll nest a describe inside of there that says, and has a positive wisdom. Sort of fleshing out my specs here. And has a negative wisdom. And then we also need to say we'll say and is very wise. That's more fun. And is a bit foolish. But we'll also need to make sure we'll test the dexterity and the wisdom working together, because I could make these pass by just saying if they're a monk, use wisdom, otherwise use dexterity, which is not what I want to do. We'll say a bit foolish, is very wise, and is very wise. We'll just go and it is very wise. So in here we'll say before each, and we'll just pass in an arrow function that says this dot be subject dot class armor class equals monk. No, we're assigning. We're not checking. I'm getting a little tired here. I'm starting to make stupid mistakes. So this makes them a monk. Poof, they're a monk. And this makes them wise. And this will make them foolish. There we go. It adds wisdom modifier to armor class. So we expect subject armor class to be 12. That's our first test. Now, this is going to fail because I don't have a wisdom on the hero yet. So let's add that to the hero. Hadn't had a need for wisdom yet, so we hadn't added it. Strength, Dex, Constitution, and Wisdom. Come on, Visual Studio Code. Do what I want. You know what I want. What would be our intelligence score, like as in mine or yours? Or do you mean like modern humans? I think it'd be the same, actually. I don't think humans are any smarter than they were 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, or quite frankly, 10,000 years ago. I don't think we're necessarily getting any smarter. I think we're more educated, but in many ways, we're a lot more specialized than they were back then. Like, you know, you go back pre-agricultural times, um, everyone had to master all the skills. Now there weren't as many skills to master, but many of them were actually quite complex. So yeah, I don't think we'd be any. I think the average human in modern times would be 10. If we want to be generous for education, we could say 11. But in D&D terms, having education just means you're proficient in things, right? And so you get to apply your proficiency bonus. And then as you get more education through levels, your proficiency bonus goes up. So I'm going to stick with 10. 10 or 11, just like everyone else. No, words of intelligence, actually. But yeah, I'm a strong. I used to teach my kids that when they were little. It's like, you know what cavemen look like? They're like, no, what? They look like you. They look just like you. You're a caveman. Humans haven't changed all that much. I mean, in the 100,000 million year time frame, sure, but last 50,000 years, not so much. So I got a wisdom score now, so I should be getting a different error message. Yeah, now it's just saying that it's not the number we expected. So now in hero armor class, I can say, here's the value. That's the 1 minus dex. So we can say, well, the simple thing we can do here is if this dot underscore hero dot class hero dot equals monk, do a special thing. Actually, yeah, I know you're totally fine asking that question, and you don't sound like a hipster because I would like to do that myself. Get functions in JavaScript cannot be arrow functions, and so that's the short answer is I can't make them that way. I would love to, but alas, I could make them functions instead of properties, but then so it's a trade-off. I'm actually starting to become of the opinion that I don't like JavaScript get and set properties. They make that nice syntax where I can say this dexterity modifier and just get it back. But the downside that I'm running into is that they also don't, in addition to not being arrow functionable, which I can live with, they also can't have async on them. So you can't make asynchronous getters and asynchronous setters, which is a little problematic because the setter may very well do something asynchronous, right? A getter might as well, maybe, I don't know. And so I'm starting to think I don't like them. But yeah, I totally want to do that too. Well, I think that's I think that's the gist of it there, right? I think you nailed it. Is you should be using these just for in-memory kind of things and not for things that go out and do things. But I was using Redis as a backend, and so Redis is pretty fast. And so I thought, I could just, you set up property, I just go update it, right? Just like that. And you snap your fingers and everything, right? And then I couldn't make it work. So I think in that particular scenario, that was a bad idea to use getters, or it was a bad idea to use setters, or it was a bad idea to have them change state in a asynchronous way. Like I probably should say set, and then apply, and then apply would be a function that could be asynchronous. Yeah, exactly. Well, my test is passing now. It's not the prettiest thing, but it works. I want to bring these in here too, just to verify that this works. So that'll add another +2, so that should be a 14. That should take us back down to 10. And I had actually made that, written that code already. I shouldn't have done that, but I did. And we're just going to, it works now, so I'm going to live with it. And then down here, we've got a very similar scenario. When they're a bit foolish, it does not apply a wisdom penalty to armor class. So I expect the armor class to be 10. Dexterity score 12. This will take it up to 2. This will drop down to 8. These will all fail. The customer only sees the green check marks. That's right. Those are all that matter. We just care about the green check marks. Everything else, that's just a problem for future guy. We don't like future guy. Screw that guy. Let's bring this down here. Just to clean it. This is ugly, ugly, ugly. But I'm just going to vomit out the code, and then I'm going to make it clean. We'll say this.wisdom modifier math.max. There we go. So we got wisdom modifier. I'm going to create a I'm going to call this the positive wisdom modifier. And then I'm going to wrap this whole thing in math.max. So I can do it down here instead. And now we can say if they're a monk, this.dex modifier, this.positive wisdom modifier. And now I've got some duplication I can pull out. I can say let's do it as extract function here. We got minus dex. Let's add plus dex. No, actually, I don't like that. We'll call it armor. We'll call it base plus dex. There we go. So if they're a monk, return this dot base plus dex. Then that can become a returnary. Like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in a get class down here as well. Just because that'll abbreviate this code here a little bit. And I can just say if this.class is a monk. I could probably even go so far as to say if is monk, but I don't think I want to do that. That feels a little too far. So yeah, they really do, don't they? I mean, that's really the essence of this. Is why I test drive and why I put this level of tests over things, is because it allows me to refactor with impunity, and it lets me know if I've broken anything. I mean, in order for that to be true, you got to be thorough with your test coverage, right? You got a unit of code, and you need to test all the permutations that unit of code can do, which is why, and that can get kind of expensive sometimes. I got some tests in here, if you look at them, where like the attack modifier spec, where I'm using this scenario-like syntax, because I just ended up with a really big matrix of things that intersect to determine, like, your attack modifier is made up of your strength score and your class and your level, and sometimes your dex, sometimes not your dex. And so you put in all those permutations, and you get, it's like, okay, so I got 4 dimensions already. And then I've got, how many values for each dimension. And so the permutations get big quick. Well, they don't often want to pay for it, but they'll pay for it. I mean, they can pay for it up front, or they can pay for it after the fact when it's more expensive. It's up to them. If you don't have those tests, then you need to make a change, or you introduce a bug and it doesn't get caught and then it gets to production. That's much worse. And even just having those tests help make me more productive down the road, 3 months later, unless you're building something really rinky-dink. Yeah, it always pays off. Okay, so that's Monk. Monk is done. Let's commit Monk. Git add dot git commit dash m added armor class for Monk. What's our next requirement? Paladin. Yep, and yep. Yeah, there's. I was consulting this one thing where this guy was trying to convince me that the testing pyramid was upside down, and it should really be a testing ice cream cone. That actually works better, because whenever we do unit tests, things would break, and it's like, well, it's because you have a big pile of legacy code that you don't have any unit tests over, and so writing your functional test is easier, because you don't have to refactor any code. But to hit all the permutations through your functional tests, well, you just can't do that. You start getting into numbers that are, it's like my tests will be done running when the universe has died, the heat death of the universe has occurred. And so, yeah, that was a piece of work. Yeah. Yeah, that too, right? It's like I want the test to run forever, and so yeah, he hadn't thought it through. He's just like, just get it done. He was one of those kind of guys. Get in there, let's yell at people, and maybe that he was really hard to work with. I was so glad to leave that gig. I hope he's not on the stream listening. I would be highly surprised if he was. Let's see. So I got to do Paladin. Let's look at Paladin. Paladin doesn't look like something I'm going to get done in the next 20 minutes, but let's look at it because it's interesting. Some of these things we can do. It gets 8 hit points per level instead of 5, so that's kind of nice. +2 attack and damage when attacking evil characters. That will end up in the attack class, I think, because you have to know it's the interaction between the two players. Does triple damage when critting on an evil character. Add the +2 bonus for regular attack and then triple that. Attack roll is increased by 1 for every level instead of every other level, and can only have a good alignment. So this and this are really straightforward. I know how to tackle these. So let's do some of those, and then we'll put off the hard ones to the next the stream. The next time I stream this, which will be next Monday, actually. Friday, my next stream on Friday. My Friday streams are in the afternoon. They're usually 3 to 5 Eastern time. So that's for you, Hyperion. That'd be you're 6 hours in my future. So that'd be 9 p.m., which is a more reasonable time. Yeah. For these two things I have highlighted, the combat manager. I have an attack class as well. I just call it attack, and so it handles those sorts of character-to-character interactions. But it does feel sometimes that feels good, but then other times it's like it's like my behavior's smeared across too much. Like I can't see it all, and that bothers me. And so I don't fully like how I've segregated them, but we'll see. But let's do actually I could do hit points at least. So let's go ahead and get to the hit points test. I need to clean some of these tests up too, because some of them are using all the permutations and some of them aren't. I want a better way to represent that. Like when I look at the hit points spec here, I have this big thing here, and I don't really like it very much. It's clunky. But we can start with here. And get these three tests. These will be easy enough. I'm going to go put the comma there so I don't have to. Defaults to 8 for Paladin. Goes up by 8 for each Paladin level. Goes up more for buff high-level Paladins. So, Hyperion, I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to when I can travel again and get back to Europe. It'd be good to head over there and see you. Maybe if I go back to Devox in Antwerp, I can we can arrange a meeting if I can get there again next year. So we got a level 1 Paladin, a level 3 Paladin, a level 3 Paladin. So this would be 8, 16, and 22. Yeah, they did it online, didn't they? They did NDC Oslo online. I didn't submit to NDC Oslo. I missed the window. I think I did. I did. I can't remember. Yeah, I had changed jobs, and I took a job where I wasn't going to be in DevRel anymore, so I didn't submit to NDC Oslo, and then I switched jobs again back into DevRel, but missed the window. So, but one of my peers went over there. He's not at Redis anymore. He's the vice president of community for the Zig Foundation. Loris Crow is his name. He spoke at NDC Oslo virtually this year. I did make it to NDC London. Yeah, that's always the case, isn't it? We don't want you to be not billable. But, the going to these events and learning stuff is actually quite valuable. I kind of just wanted to go back to Oslo, honestly. Okay, so I think all I need to do for this is just say Paladin 8. And I think they will all just magically pass. No. They don't. What did I do wrong? Paladin's a proper class. Oh, I can't do math. That's the problem. 24. 30. A third level Paladin has 24 hit points, not 16. Yeah, a lot of companies are rethinking that. Well, and I've been seeing things about New York City where everyone's realizing, hey, we don't actually need to have all these people in this office building in this really expensive city. So maybe we don't need to do that. I could just have the meetings in, from Zoom in, somewhere sunny and warm. And so everyone's kind of thinking it's a shitty time to be in commercial real estate. That's what it boils down to. If you own commercial real estate property right now, a lot of businesses are going to realize they don't need nearly as much of it. Although on the plus side, if a lot of people are working from home, it could mean all the restaurants decide to relocate really close to residential neighborhoods instead of next to business areas, which might. It's actually not a bad idea. It's like put a restaurant right next to a residential area, because people are wanting to get food still. They just aren't doing. If it's close and convenient, you can even deliver. Yeah, and I know the really big cities like New York City is going to be hit hard by this because they are just so much. Everything that happens in New York City really can happen virtually. They're not manufacturing things there, and so they just don't need as much infrastructure they have, and then they're going to be saddled with it. I'm actually worried New York City is going to turn into another Detroit, but with taller buildings. So, but New York City is not where I live, and it's actually. I don't know, 12-hour drive. So it's not close at all. So maybe a 10-hour drive. But still. Well, I'm making stupid math mistakes, and I'm getting tired. So, yeah, it'd be great if you come over. Let me know. I'll try and meet you where you're at. A lot of good events here. Once it's a safe place to visit. It's not that bad actually. It's just the COVID is the numbers are pretty high, and but there's been some unrest on the West Coast, but in some of the cities, but we're not seeing that to the same extent where I live. So and some of that unrest is it's complicated, right? Some of it's very, very justified, and the things people are angry about are very justified. But then when you get angry, you're not always rational, and so it gets complicated. And so it's hard to have a level head in moments like this. But it's been interesting time to be alive. But prices are certainly going to drop. Although I don't know if the international airfare will drop or not. It may turn into there'll just be less flights. So. But once you're here, it's nice and cheap. The food's pretty good. We'll go get some barbecue. That'd be good. So anyhow, I'm gonna wrap up my stream for the night. There's a few of you watching here. I've got just a few. I just touched Paladin, but there's a lot more I can do with Paladin. I'll do that on the next time we stream this, and then we'll start getting into races. Let's look ahead and see what that looks like. We've got. The Paladin here and the races, and a lot of the races have you got orcs here. They got a strength modifier, intelligence modifier, wisdom and charisma modifiers, and they get a bonus to their armor class. As a dwarf, you get a constitution modifier and a charisma modifier. So we got some interesting exception rules here. I think these will be really fun. I think maybe next stream what I'll do too is I'll try and sort out my maybe what we'll end up on next stream here is we'll finish up Paladin, and then we'll go through and we'll look at these scenario based tests and come up with a cleaner way to implement these, because this just feels like a wall of text, and I don't like it. A way to represent this matrix, because we got all these. class, level, constitution, and hit points, and those all class, level, and con, and those all determine your hit points. But now we may have race impacting it as well, and so it just it gets more and more complicated. And so I want a better way to represent this. I may need to noodle on that before I get on stream. So yeah. Hyperion, you should get yourself to bed and get your ass to bed. And I'm going to wrap up here, and we'll just pick someone to raid here really quick. Whom shall we raid? Let's see who's streaming right now. I'm looking at my streaming PC now. Twitch.tv/ help so I spell Twitch right. Twitch.tv/team/live coders. So usually I raid someone that's live coding in the live coders team. I don't really see anyone here. Let me just go to my stream manager and see who's there. Twitch.tv/Guy Royse. And then we'll go to my stream mangler. And I'll just click the raid button and see who's hanging out. No one. Okay, well, I think we'll just we'll forego the raid this evening, and we'll just say thank you all for watching. And if you aren't following me already, please give me a follow here on Twitch. It's always greatly appreciated. Just trying to get my followers and viewers up. That's my only goal right now. So, and so those who joined tonight or recently, thank you very much. And thanks for hanging out with me tonight. And Lord Hyperion, I'll see you the next time I get a chance to see you, and hopefully I'll see you on Friday. See y'all later. Bye.